Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with horse racing and football selections for Sunday, the 16th of February. Well, a few horses ran okay yesterday. It was a losing day. The football was garbage. They both ended up, I think, 1-1. There might have been a goal at the Peterborough match last off, but I switched it off. But the last time I saw it, it was 1-1. So disappointed day. A few of them ran okay. We had a faller. Yeah, that's in the past now. So it was a losing day. Didn't get a great deal back. Um, the horse ridden by Hannah Dring, I thought she took it a bit too wide. Once again, wasn't good enough on the day, but I think I don't think there's anything wrong with the jockey. I just don't think the horse was good enough. So let's get on to Sunday's selection. So you'll notice that I'm actually on Bet365. The reason is because I'm a bit disappointed because I was waiting for 9 o'clock with Sky Bet, but I thought, why not? Let's have a quick look at Bet365. I didn't realise that best odds guarantee was 8 a.m. on Bet365. And as I wasn't really looking at four places instead of three, I thought, well, I'll nip over to Bet365. So I placed a bet with Bet365. So I still need to place another bet. Most people probably won't place the other bet, but or even this bet. So let me get into it. So I'm going to click on my bets. So you can see the football bet. So all I've had there is basically it's a £5 double and a £1.60 double. So the £5 double is Liverpool versus Wolverhampton and Tottenham versus Man U is a £5 over 2.5 goals double and a £1.60 over 3.5 goals double. There's only really two matches I can choose from because all the rest are like European matches or there's a Scottish match, but I thought, nah, keep it simple. So for the £5, basically it's double money. It won't quite pay for the day. I think I've staked about £13 in the end. So if the over 2.5 comes up, it's a £3 losing day if nothing happens on the horse racing. So let me talk you through the horse race because I think it's very interesting. There is a race in particular where there is a lot of doubts, even though the fancied horses will probably end up running the race. You can see lots of holes where potentially they might not. So in the end, I can't show it all, not because I don't want to, because it doesn't give me much room to put the screen. So basically, what it is, I've gone for two in the same race because I think the first three in the betting are all vulnerable, and I shall quickly click onto the racing post and show you exactly why. So I've gone for the 2 o'clock at Musselburgh, and currently, and I can't see it changing, it's first three. The bet I've gone for is it's not by my own doings really. It gave me the option to. Basically, I've gone for a 40 pence each way Trixie. So I've gone for two in one race, and I've gone for two other horses that I fancy that could actually win rather than being each way selections. I should tell you why, but I'll stick to the 2 o'clock race at Musselburgh. So the two selections I've gone for are Chichester at 12-1 and Split Stone at 16-1. So let me show you the 2 o'clock at Musselburgh. So here we have the 2 o'clock at Musselburgh. So it's currently good to soft ground. I don't know if it's going to get any softer. So stress free. I've backed this horse loads of times, but I've never backed it over hurdles because it's only run once over hurdles. Stress free is renowned for wanting an absolute slog. Good to soft, maybe its excuse for not winning already, but it ran. I'm just going to let me give you a quick oversight of the horses. Supreme George, as you can see, when it came second on its penultimate run, I actually tipped it at a decent price. Since then, it's finished completely tailed off, and it's had a break since. I don't know what was wrong with it, but the rating of 107 seems a bit excessive for me. I don't think it's anywhere near that. Nat Zor is coming off a first time wind operation, although it's not a recent wind operation. A recent wind operation. A recent wind operation. So straight away, I put lines through wind operations. Doesn't mean they can't win, doesn't mean they don't win, but not for me. So I've gone for Chichester, but the problem is I've gone for Chichester, but it's in the same camp as Stress Free Ready, not because of the ground, because it's a decent flat performer, but there's doubts over it. So Stress Free, in my opinion, it could be after a decent handicap mark. And I think it wouldn't surprise me if it travelled well towards the rear of the field. And last time it ran, it said weak and flat. And that was on it equally, I think. I didn't really want to do this, but I'll click on it because it's hard for me to keep showing you. At Catterick, well, don't get me wrong, it was soft ground, but then again, it shouldn't. So it weakened. I don't know if you can see this when I hover, but took keen hold, held up rear, not fluent third, headway in touched, leaders three out, pressed leaders two out, challenging, going best last, no extra running, weak and final 110 yards. Um, it is the best. Well, it's a very dangerous horse, but it wants it knee deep. It's not going to be knee deep at Musselburgh. Um, it's by far the best horse in the race. Sorry, I'm just looking at to share tabs. Yeah, if they want it to win, it can win this race. But I think it's very easy to put question marks over it. I couldn't see it. It's not a 4-11 chance. Or sorry, it is a 4-11 chance, but I couldn't back it at 4-11. Too many question marks for me. It'll probably absolutely tank all the way around, and I'm not quite sure what it might find towards the finish. Supreme George, it's not. It shouldn't be rated 107. I backed this horse in the past when it was a very poor race, and I only backed it because I thought it would go. It would go to the front, and the horses were that poor behind it that they would struggle to catch it. And that's basically what happened when it came second that time. I didn't back it because I thought it was a decent horse. I backed it because it was a dreadful race. And then subsequently, it ran a poor race, finishing sixth, tailed off. I think that was at Catterick as well. I might be wrong, might not be. As I said, Natsaw, wind operation. I can't touch him with wind operations. It might win with its head in its chest. So I've gone for Chichester and Split Stone. So let me click on Chichester and I'll explain why. So I do think this has got a chance. However, so as you can see, it was rated towards the bottom, it was rated 110, 108. Regularly ran over a mile to a mile and two. While it was running for Lucinda Russell, it touched a mile and 5, mile and 4. Only running okay. They look like days out, to be honest, because look at the prices. They're all the shortest price were 28-1. While it was trained by Lucinda, or while it still is trained by Lucinda Russell, I think they just kept it ticking over. Wanted to know more about it. Tried tongue strap visor, cheek pieces. So then it ran on the 29th of December at Kelso. So I'm a bit. It did a rating of 89. That for me, if Natzaw off the win operation doesn't run up to its best, that should give it third place. So at Kelso, held up in rear, headway into midfield when jumped right 5 out at fifth, race wide but in touch with leaders, weakened quickly to out. I can't really. What I could say is maybe it didn't like the good soft ground. It's good to soft again, but I've kind of overlooked that because I've actually looked at the breeding. In fact, I'll try and show you now. I don't know how well you're going to see this. So I always click on the dam. So I'll click on haven't. So here you can see the. In fact, no, you can't. Here you can see the brothers and sisters basically of Chichester. Well, Chichester was the best in the family with a rating of 112, but it's not up to that now. You see him, it could be a doubtful stay, but it's running at Musselburgh. So if it doesn't stay at Musselburgh, what's the point in Lucinda Russell actually having this horse? So as you can see, there's a full brother to this horse. So I'll click on Jamil. So if I scroll down, so this was a stayer. So as you can see, I didn't really show you Chichester's previous form, but it had basically never really ran on soft ground, which is quite surprising because as I show you its relatives, you'll see that look at the amount of heavy ground there where it's actually ran well behind Robert Johnson. All I'm saying is the family, or especially this part of the family, as it's a full brother, it wasn't. It never really ran on quick ground. It was basically campaigned on good or slower. So let me just find you. So let me just show you some other ones. So let's click on Totnes, trained by Andrew Baldwin. So let's have a look at this horse. This one's a half. This Totnes is a half sister. This horse. So as you can see, um, not scared to run it on slow ground. Ran on good to firm, 4-1. Disappointed. Good to soft. Ran a good race. I think this horse basically it probably can handle all types, but it did show that it maybe did like slower ground. Let me click. Well, in fact, I've no need to click on that one because I know all about that one. But Portsmouth, but I will click on it for the people that are listening. Portsmouth, I know that this horse. So this horse is a half brother to Chichester. So it's by Glen Eagles. This one, and I know that Glen Eagles want slow ground. But as you can see, all its best runs, especially that one, its better runs were on slower ground. So I think. Just give me a second. I know you can't see this. I'm just closing. I think Chichester at 12-1. I think it's now 11s. I think Chichester is worth giving another go. Splitstone. I'm not going to go too much into this, but I'm going to click on it and I'll show you. So Splitstone. So you might not think it's achieved a great deal because look, as you can see, beaten 25 lengths, but it's only rated 1 point below Chichester. This one's rated 88. Chichester was 89. So if anything's going to replace Chichester coming third, it could be this horse, or it might do even better. I clicked on the Nick Alexander trainer to see how he was getting on. So I know he did quite well yesterday. So Nick Alexander as a trainer. So I always like it in the difference column because if it's a plus, well, there's no plus, but if it's a minus, I always go for it that it ran under par. However, so there you see a 20. That's because at 22-1, it ran above itself. It was only beaten 7.5 lengths in a national flat race. Then you've got Haydock, Dubai Days 1. They didn't at 16-1. Pulled up. So I'm going to ignore all the pulled up and fells because it doesn't really tell you anything. Ned Tanner only slightly ran below itself. Burning It Up ran slightly above itself. Slightly below, above itself at 22-1. I believe this stable's in quite good form. It's a relatively small stable, and I'm more than happy to back Splitstone as like a bit of a cover bet. Don't get me wrong. Hold on, I've clicked on the wrong tab. Yeah, I know you can't see this, but you will do in a minute. So I'm quite happy at 16s and 12s to take the front three on in the betting in the 2 o'clock at Musselburgh. So the 3 o'clock at Musselburgh. So I've gone for Not in Kansas at 7-2, and as I said, in the 3 o'clock at Musselburgh. So I'm briefly going to tell you about it. I'm not going to bore you about it. So Nick, in fact, I'm going to have to just nip and double check something. So I know you can't see this, but you will see it very shortly. Yes, I think Nick Alexander, although I haven't looked too far beyond this race, Nick Alexander has two horses in this race. He has Beat the Retreat, which I think has got a good chance, and Not in Kansas. And it was basically a coin flip. Not in Kansas knows how to win much more than the other one does. And that's why I've basically gone for this one. So I think Not in Canvas. It's a 2.5 mile race. So if you can see just here, look, it's one at Musselburgh, one at Perth. It's normally held up towards the rear over 2.5 miles. Soft, good soft. Off 83, it won. It's off 86, I believe, today. Yeah, 86. So then it had a break from May and reappeared in October. Over 3 mile. So the question is, does it want 3 mile? Well, personally, by the looks of it, no. Because it started off with off a rating of 90. Never really sighted. So I'm thinking, sorry, 2 runs over 3 mile, then over 2 mile 2. So what's that all about? So normally it's actually held up in the 2 mile 2 race. And I'm not sure if you can see this when I hover, but I shall tell you anyway. At Kelso over 2 mile 2, it was in touch with leaders. Well, this horse even over 2.5 mile, it's normally held up towards the rear. So I think it was. I personally think they've tried to get the handicap mark down. So then it's gone for wind surgery basically the next day, or they declared it the next day. So 30th of December, wind operation, and it goes to Musselburgh again over 3 mile, which I don't think it wants. But he ran at okay rates, towards rear on inner, badly hampered by faller, outpaced 3 hour, rallying, no extra from last, weak and running. Weak and running because maybe it doesn't stay 3 mile. Set it up perfect by dropping a pound in the ratings. Is that a wind operation? I think it'll be held up again and has every chance, in my opinion. And I also think there's been a little bit, not untoward, but sneaky again for this horse, for this other horse. And this other horse is Beat the Retreat. The only reason the second reason I've gone for it is because it's a £10 claimer that I couldn't trust too much. So Beat the Retreat, it's a similar kind of format. So what's happened is with this horse, Beat the Retreat, rated much higher, as you can see towards the bottom, but didn't really do a great deal. Runs at regularly at Musselburgh or Ayr. So it came back towards the back end of last year. 2 mile 3 pulled up. So then 2 mile 4 at Musselburgh, same conditions basically, towards the rear again, ran on well towards the finish. Then competitive race at Ayr, never better than mid division. Didn't really do it, but was dropped £2. And then Musselburgh up to 3 mile. It's quite interesting that is, because I don't think this horse wants 3 mile either. So what did it do? Midfield in centre of group, keep it on before 2 hour, weaken before last. In my opinion, doesn't want 3 mile. Drop back down to 2.5. So what I'm doing is I wouldn't put any of you off either of these two horses. What I'm actually doing is I'm actually going to have a 50p or a pound reverse forecast, not in Kansas and Beat the Retreat, because I think they've been purposely laid out maybe for this day. So I'm just going to click on this. This is I hadn't planned on doing this, but I'm just going to check on the rest of the Nick Alexander horses. So I know in the past he's had a good day in the past. Entries. So he has got a few. I tell you what, look, I fancy Splitstone. At those prices, they've all got a chance. So I haven't even looked at any of the others, but I wouldn't put it off any of them. I might even, if his first one runs okay, I might even have a bit of an interest in some of the other ones. So as you can see, I backed Splitstone, Beat the Retreat. Not in Canvas I've backed, and Beat the Retreat I've had it in a forecast. So I think you need to keep an eye on Nick Alexander at Musselburgh today. Sorry, I'm nearly lying down now. Sorry, I don't want to look like a scrubber. So where are we? Bet365. So those are the first two races, and the final race is I've gone for Express Trainer at 100 to 30 in the 12.52 at Lingfield. Right, I'll click on the race to make it easier. So it's still 100 to 30. So Winnebago, in my opinion, by far the best horse in the race. It's coming off a break. If anybody could get beat, I don't mind Luke Morris, but you can get horses beat. We don't know how it will handle the all weather. There is some American breeding in there, so it might well take to it. It might be a very nice horse, but it hasn't run for a while, so I'm prepared to take it on, especially at 4 to 6. There's only two places up for grab in this race. So I've gone for Express Train. I've looked at the breeding. I've looked at the relatives of this horse. So I want to mention two of them. One of them won very well on its 2-year debut. I think it won by something like 6 lengths, I think. Means nothing really for this horse. It just shows you that some of the family have actually done well first time. There was another half brother or half sister to Express Train, and it didn't do a great deal on its debut, but then it won its next two. I think Andrew Baldwin had a horse yesterday. I think it came second first time up, but there was money for it. Wouldn't surprise me if this one runs a race as well. Dancing Terror, it won on its debut. However, it did a Racing Post rating of, I think, 64 or 69. That's nothing special, and it's got a penalty. So that leaves it vulnerable. Doesn't mean it can't win. Doesn't mean it's not talented. And I think a jockey that you need to keep an eye on this season, or especially early on, is Sean Levy. I think he's. I've seen him quite a while recently. I never seem to tip any of his horses, but he does seem to be riding pretty well at the moment. But I do like the look of Express Train. I'm not going to change my opinion on it. I do think that This race will not take a lot of winning, but I don't know anything about the horse. All I'm saying is Andrew Bowling, good trainer. Jason Watson, okay jockey. Um, the bloodlines told me that the relatives have won in the past, so this horse could win this race. And after these three horses, it's huge odds the others. So I think it's like basically a three-horse race, and with doubts over the other two. So I've given you plenty to go at. Let me know in the comments if anybody's still here, by the way. Let me know in the comments if you agree with me, disagree with me. But don't forget, I am going to have the forecast for those two horses by Nick Alexander in the same race. So I thinking about it, I think Nick Alexander, it looks like he's got some resources ready for today by maybe running them over the wrong distances recently to give them a decent handicap mark and a better chance today. So I wish the very best of luck. Let me know if you disagree or agree, or we'll be backing them based on what I've said. Charlie Winters, over and out. Cheers, mate.